Mouse Rebel, or Jason if you prefer to be called. We're friends. So, I saw your video and I disagree. I don't disagree militantly. I can see your point where, government has always been an instrument used by capitalism, regardless of what the ANCAPs say. But I see this a bit differently, because when the state took down MEGAUPLOAD, it's not like they gave back that money to the music industry and film industry. It's not like they took their cars and gave their cars to those industries as like compensation, but it just took them. And to me, that's a good thing. To me, that's a wonderful thing. The state is finally starting to realize they don't need the bourgeoisie anymore, and they can run this shit without them. And this is only the beginning. They're going to start taking all the cars of all the industries and all their houses and all their yachts and all their boats and everything. They're going to take fucking everything from them, and that would be the best thing to happen. And when you look at it mathematically, how they took away their $1 million cars and yachts and houses or whatever, that just means more revenue for the United States government, which in turn means more revenue for the United States citizenry. When the means of production and the means of stuff that were produced by production are socialized, nationalized, that is good for the poor. Fuck the rich. You know, I don't consider the rich people. They're just vampires sucking the blood of the workers. So, that's the way I look at it. I look at it like the state is a weapon. The state is a gun. George Washington called it fire. And it's a weapon that can either be used for or against the people. And I think it's slowly starting to get back into the hands of the people. I think that taking down MEGAUPLOAD was good for the people because MEGAUPLOAD is not in the best interest of the people. The people do not want a subscription fee to conveniently download illegal products. And while on the surface it might look like it's benefiting the bourgeoisie because it's benefiting them because we were pirating things before and now we would have to buy their stupid CDs and movies, it's not going to turn out that way. At least I don't think it's going to turn out that way. What I think is going to happen is slowly the government's going to take over more and more private industry, and then it will become socialized. It might not necessarily be owned and co-sponsored by everybody. It might be co-owned and sponsored by those within the state, but it is a good start. And once it's in the state's hands, who votes for the politicians? Who, votes for the laws? Who runs the state? The people. The state is a representation of the people. And it's only a matter of time before we can unionize and organize and eventually integrate with the state and be one conjoined conglomerate, and that we can own those means of production. Then those cars, those yachts, those boats will be ours. All it takes is the first initiative to take from them. And the way I look at it is, if they're worth that many millions of dollars, then those millions of dollars belong to us, to use to benefit our 300 plus million people. And, I was planning to word this better, but then I couldn't get it out of my head, the words I wish to project. But the way I look at it is, everything is money. It's all circulation of money. What is money? Money is just a paper-backed representation of our labor and our worth and the value we artificially put in through thought. And as baseless and as fluid and subjective as that is, it is what dictates human ingenuity. So, the way I look at it is kind of like mana in Final Fantasy. Yeah, I guess that'll work. Mana is this colorless form of energy that, people dictate and use to cast their spells, and the spell is productivity. So we are taking that mana away from the rich, and it's going to the state. Now, it's not going to the people directly, but through the state, we will have all our provisions provided for us. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's only a matter of time before this ascends beyond MEGAUPLOAD, and it'll affect Pirate Bay and uTorrent, and they'll say, oh, it's for copyright, it's for intellectual property. But then eventually those companies, the movie companies and the music industry, will feel the wrath of the state too, and then everything will be taken over by the state, and then all productivity will be dictated by the state, and that will be a good thing, because once it is all centered around the state, then we can improve our standard of living and our needs and our wants as the 300 million plus people. And I know as a Maoist you probably are opposed to that. You probably think that that just will hurt the third world more, will manipulate the third world more, centered around nationalism. But I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. I don't think we have to stop at nationalism. I just think that that is a means to an ends. That, like the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union did that, where they nationalized everything, or at least they tried to. They still had some private property on the surface, and I believe that was their problem. They weren't militant enough in taking away private property from the bourgeoisie. They were, trying to satisfy the people, make them feel good about themselves, and make it like, well, we're not, just going to take it from you. We're going to slowly wean you off of it. No, they just have to take it from them, and the state has to be mean about it, and just has to snatch it away from their hands and push them in the river, or whatever, example you want to give, and just be hateful about it. The state has to take over all private industry, and when the state does that, the people's needs will soon be followed, and everything will be better because of it. And that's what I sincerely believe, that this is an example of the state finally getting its sovereignty and finally becoming self-aware of the fact that, we don't need private feudal lords telling us what to do. We don't need them to own land or production or the money. No longer is that the case, and the state is an entity from which everyone is a participant, whether they want to be or not. And that is the first step to true communism. And I'm sure you disagree with me, and you have every right to. I can see where mankind has had how many years to get things right, and they haven't. There's always going to be murder and war and greed and selfishness and corruption, but I'm looking on the bright side. I'm looking on the bright side that a couple of rich assholes that took advantage of people's impatience and willingness to buy a subscription fee for something that was free just to not be inconvenienced by 5 minutes of waiting time, got what was coming to them. If you are a private entrepreneur, if you are a private landowner, if you are petty or major bourgeoisie, you deserve whatever's coming to you. And I believe the state is the one to do that. So, I guess that's it. See you later, dude.